We're going to use vinyl distortion. And while this is a default Ableton effect, for all of the non-Ableton users out there, there are plugins that emulate vinyl effects very well, like Isotope's Vinyl, which is actually a free plugin. I believe it's been discontinued, but you should still be able to find links for it somewhere. And there are a few other very good plugins that are not Ableton native that you could use to get this gritty effect. You could even just take a sample that you'll find on a vinyl record or from a sample pack with clicking and popping from the beginning of an old record and just lay that over your sample. But I'm just going to go with the vinyl distortion effect here because it's very easy to use and it does a good job. I'm going to set the volume to be at a pretty small level, and the reason why is because for our effect after the vinyl distortion, we're going to throw on some multiband compression, and that's going to enhance this crackle effect and make it more poignant. I'm going to turn off the pinch and put the drive all the way down at 0. I'm going to set the tracing model frequency to be at about 522, and I'm going to increase the B, which is sort of like a little resonance knob here, to be at 0.86. This doesn't make a huge difference, it just brings out a few more harmonic characteristics in the sound, but I thought I would just leave it on there, but you could completely take off the tracing model and you wouldn't notice much of a difference. Now I'm going to throw on an instance of multiband dynamics. We'll use the OTT preset, and you can hear that increase the volume of the vinyl distortion a lot. You can hear that crackle a lot more now. I'm actually going to increase the density a bit too, I almost forgot about that. Just a little bit to bring out those high frequencies. I think we'll go for somewhere around 16, maybe 16.3. That sounds pretty nice. Now let's hear all of these effects, including the OTT being used on the piano with our melody playing. And it sounds nice, but it's a little bit too overly distorted. So I'm going to take the amount with the OTT and put it down to maybe somewhere around 50, 51%, that should be good. I'm also going to take the high threshold right here, click, and then just drag on it a little bit to bring out those high frequencies a little bit more, not too much. I think right about there should be good. Now that we have all the effects on the sound, we're going to bounce it down to audio. But before we do that, one interesting thing that I experimented with and ended up liking when I was making this little demo track, and I suggest people who are doing this sort of pseudo-sampling method try out as well, is to take their melodies and put them in different tempos, and then either pitch them up or pitch them down for a very authentic sampled sound. Back in the 90s, a lot of samplers didn't have time stretching features, and on the ones that did, the time stretching usually sounded pretty artificial. And because they didn't want their samples sounding weird, they would have to pitch up or pitch down the samples that they had from their records. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase the tempo of our track to 120. The melody actually sounds a little bit funny like that. It's a bit too fast in my opinion, but we're going to make up for that when we bounce down the track. So let's right click on our MIDI track, select freeze track, and this will take a little bit longer than usual because of the effects we have applied to the sound. And now we're going to right click on the track again and click on flatten. And we're going to get rid of this tail because it's not necessary. We don't need that at all. Now we've got our original composition, our virtual piano, bounced down to audio form. So now we can actually play with it as if it was a sample. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to our warp mode and change it from beats to repitch. So we'll be pitching samples up or down like producers in the 90s were mainly doing. Now let's take our tempo and we'll bring that back down to our original value of 96 BPM.